This is Matthew Cratter from Trader University, and today I want to talk about a certain type of fatigue that's setting in. People are getting very frustrated with Bitcoin's sideways action and are asking me why Bitcoin is so dead in the water. Seeing a lot of comments like this, Paul Langdon saying in yesterday's video, Bitcoin is like watching grass grow, hardly the raging bull market run that they talked about. On Twitter, tons of people saying, I'm sick of Bitcoin, about to sell it all, too much hodl fatigue. The really amazing thing about this is we're talking about an asset that's literally up 533% over the past 12 months. I wanted to show you a chart of the current consolidation range. For some reason, TradingView is crashing this morning, as are a couple other services. But I think what's really happening here is that people are being tested. And we're learning those who are really dopamine dependent and really need price action and excitement, and those who have a much more patient mindset. If you're doing day trading or swing trading, trading momentum stocks, it's fine to be in the dopamine camp. But if you are hodling for the long term, this sort of dopamine addiction really is a liability and will make it much more difficult for you to hold your coins. To give you an example, here's a quote from a comment from 7 months ago in my video from September 26th of 2020 when I talked about Bitcoin. FOMO is coming soon. And Uncle Putin comment here says that MicroStrategy guy messed up. He's down millions of dollars. Bitcoin has been stuck in a range for months. I don't see any evidence that's going to break out anytime soon. The ironic thing about this is when I posted that video and when that comment was posted, September 26, 2020, Bitcoin ended the day at 10,700. And since then, Michael Saylor has begun to look like a bit of a genius. He certainly made the right move, and he bought closer to the bottom than the top. I just want to emphasize Bitcoin wrecks those people who have short-term time horizons. It wrecks leverage longs. It wrecks leverage shorts. Somehow, none of these people are ever able to make money over the long term. And this is what a lot of markets are like. They will move in such a way as to hurt the most people, especially over the short term. Bitcoin is not for weak hands. It frustrates the impatient. If you think watching Bitcoin is like watching grass grow, you shouldn't be watching it. You should be out in nature. You should be spending time with your family, or you should be researching Bitcoin. Staring at the price chart is not going to tell you very much about what's going to happen over the next 5 years. Bitcoin seems to divide people into two different groups. Those with high time preferences, which are the people who don't save money, who say, I'd rather have it today than tomorrow. And then those people with low time preferences who don't attach such a high discount rate to future cash flows or future wealth. These are the people who have the patience to grow wealth, who think about their grandchildren and great-grandchildren, even when they're 20 years old, and who are interested in the long term. So many people just hop from one coin to another, and as a result, they never get rich. I can't tell you how many comments I've seen and emails I've seen in the last couple days saying for people who are selling their Bitcoin for ETH, or saying they're selling their Bitcoin for Doge, or moving from Doge into the Shiba Inu coin, and there's just a constant hype cycle here because it sells. It's good. It sells clicks, and it also helps people create junky coins that then they can then sell to you and profit from. If we take a look at the big picture, though, we're still right on track with the stock to flow multiple. The model price is currently at 56,635. We're trading at a slight discount to that, around 55,000 something. As I'm recording this, we can see here that this has been a very good model in the past. It has tracked the price of Bitcoin very closely. If you take a look at where it has us in 2025, 2026, has us at $1 million per Bitcoin. And so if Bitcoin goes from 60,000 to 50,000, this doesn't matter in the long term, in the scheme of things, simply because you're buying Bitcoin here at 5% or 5.5% or 6% of where it's going to be in just a few years, if you believe this model. If you don't believe this model, you should read Plan B's work. There are three main essays. He has the stock to flow cross asset model, which has Bitcoin hitting $288,000 in this cycle, and then much higher levels going into the millions coming up. I made a video about that $288,000 target back in July of 2020, and it received not exactly a positive welcome. It seemed crazy to talk about Bitcoin going that high when it was still trading at 8,000 or 9,000, wherever it was. But now it's looking increasingly likely. So this is what people with long-term thinking and low time preferences should be focusing on. Meanwhile, all the fundamentals for Bitcoin and the adoption continues right on track. We have Tom Brady, possibly the greatest quarterback of all time, getting into Bitcoin, presumably by signaling this by adding laser eyes to his Twitter profile pic. We have Mark Zuckerberg all but declaring that he owns Bitcoin. He shows two of his goats, which are named Max and Bitcoin. Max, I presume, as in Bitcoin, maximalist. So you can ask yourself, if you have $100 billion and you name your goats Max and Bitcoin, what are the odds that you own Bitcoin or that you will be buying Bitcoin? I think it's quite high. And obviously GOAT, there may be other symbolism here, GOAT standing for greatest of all time. We learned this morning in Palantir's earnings call that they have been considering adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet. Obviously Palantir, with its affiliation with Peter Thiel, who's been a long-time Bitcoin bull, billionaire who's the original, one of the first outside investors in Facebook, co-founder of PayPal, and a guy I used to work for, brilliant guy, who also says that Bitcoin is basically the dumb investment of the decade. It's something you just buy, similar to the FANG stocks. You can just buy it and hold it for the next 10 years and not worry about it. And it's dumb in the sense that you don't have to do it's not fancy, you don't have to do any fancy trading, but it should outperform everything. And we also learned that Palantir is now accepting Bitcoin as a payment as well. Great interview with Stan Druckenmiller, one of the great investors of all time, who recalls that 5 years ago he said crypto was a solution in search of a problem. Well, now the problem has been clearly identified. It's Jerome Powell and the rest of the world's central bankers. There's a lack of trust. We talked about this yesterday in the context of the British pound and how Bitcoin has been such a good store of value and is really the hardest money that has ever existed. This was an interesting look back by the account documenting Bitcoin, talking about how in 2013, Wired magazine, they'd been mining some Bitcoin. They had 13 Bitcoin, and they decided to destroy the private keys and essentially throw away the Bitcoin because they didn't think it was ever going to go anywhere. This is a great example of a tech publication that that also had very high time preferences and was really focused on the present over extrapolating to the future. Meanwhile, William Clemente here has a couple great tweets showing that the number of Bitcoin transfers from desks into private wallets has been increasing as well. And this is what all the metrics that I'm looking at show as well, that Bitcoin is being bought on these dips. It's being hodled. The Bitcoin's being withdrawn off the exchanges. And these are people with long-term time horizons, people like Mark Zuckerberg and some of the other people we've talked about. And so as such, everything is on track. And Bitcoin, when it goes to $1 million, and if you're still holding on, everyone will tell you how you don't deserve the money and how easy it was. But in fact, it's not easy. It's not easy to just be patient and hold Bitcoin. It can be it goes up too quickly when you want to buy some. It goes down too quickly when you already own some. And then it frustrates people even with its sideways action. We had a similar period of consolidation in the 2017 bull market, which I can't show you because the charts are down. But this is, I would say, we're approximately 40 or 50% through this big rally. So not even halfway there. And my price target for Bitcoin for the end of 2021 remains $200,000. I think it's a fairly conservative target. So that's about 3.5, 4x from here. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit that subscribe and like button. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I publish my next video. And let me know your questions and comments in the comment section below. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.